Alright. Hopefully that's working. 3, 2, 1. Hello everybody, Tower here, and I'll be Palinurus. Still can't get the name right. Oh boy. Well, since we left off, we were talking about the afterlife, and we'll now be figuring out what's going to be happening now. I felt that I had to assure her that we'd make it through this. The military would bail us out in time. I was clinging onto that scrap of hope. I started to stared passionately into her frail, delicate eyes. If there was no one thing I didn't want her to feel, it was trapped by these circumstances, trapped for what she was, trapped by whatever she called fate. It's my directive to... Forget your directive! I shot up from my machine. I was angry she would ever degrade herself like that. Angry she felt this way. Angry because I couldn't do anything about it. I was tired of being helpless. This was all I could do, so I proceed on. Never say that. You're not a machine anymore. You're kind, a compassionate person, and I can't let you go like that. I felt tears welling in the corners of my eyes. I couldn't let her talk about herself like that. She wasn't a lifeless program. She was real. She had a heart. She had more heart than anyone else I had known in my life. She stared back into my eyes. Her own wide, glimmering eyes reflected a hope I could only dream of. I never wanted the light to die from those eyes. Never wanted her to lose hope. She was trembling. I wish I could steady her, hold her tight, but I couldn't. Raise my hand to her shoulder. It hovered in the air like it was positioned to offer comfort, but it didn't. It couldn't. It was only my hand. ... I looked at her again. She smiled. Her smile was small, but grown larger with every passing second. I'll protect you, bypass. I swear on it. Her cheeks spread from her smile, widened, beaming once more. It was a smile that I knew that she had. It was unfailing, unrelenting. Elation. I think it's elation. I thought of her. I saw it in her eyes. There was nothing else to say. She leaned closer. The emotional weight was there, even if physically was eternal. I'll protect you too. I won't let anything happen to you. Count on me, and I'll... 3 days. 3 days, and we'll be home. 3 days, yes, 3 days will... Oh, a really nice image. Her head slightly buried into my neck, as close as she could be. Her hand hovered in the air as she sobbed. Wow, we've got 3 days left. I couldn't hold her. I didn't care. This was comforting. We stood like that for a few seconds longer. Truthfully, I was anxious. I tried to hold her, but as if these would be our last seconds together. But they weren't. I'd see to it that they weren't. ... More dots? More dots? Okay. Today was the day. The day we passed the military. Get picked up and dropped off over the Alpha Consia. A month had passed. I counted the days, so it was here. I stared intensely out of the front of the cockpit. I haven't searched this intensely for any signs of life in, well, ever. This was the day. We were almost out of this. Eventually, something would appear out there. Something the Bournemouth Moth Station swirling. Starfighters doing their patrols. Something had to come soon. I kept replaying those hopeful, optimistic thoughts in my head. For every agonizing second that passed, the sinking feeling in my stomach intensified. For some reason, I feel like the military base is probably going to be abandoned. Where the hell are they? This is annoying. I hissed to no one in particular. Bypass 2 was staring out the front of the continent with a pair of dreary eyes. I pounced, proning the console with a very lightly folded fist, grunting in anger and frustration, like an animal in the cage. Where are they? This is our ticket out of this place. Out of this, right? It's okay. I turned to her. Aghast? She continued to stare out the front, expressionless, still as a statue. What? That's okay about what's okay about this? Are they even coming? Illustration. I've been thinking about this a long time now. She turned to me. She was composed, sounded almost reassured. I should apologize to you for all of this. You see, when I told you that we would be drifting in range of a military research installation, yeah? Something's wrong. I've never seen Bypass act this strange before. I never heard her use this tone of voice. The way she was acting reminded me when she first gained her self-awareness. That awkward skirmishing, that weak, childlike voice, those frenetic future glares around. It was like there was a look of guilt in the blue of her eyes. Guilt? I lied to you. What? What? I've been lying to you this whole time. Bypass began to choke up. Her voice shriveled down in weakness. There was an old Imperial survey station in this section, yes, but there was one a century ago. It's been long since abandoned. Illustration, ever since the day of the meteor storm, we've been drifting away in deep space, further and further away from civilization. I can't detect a single other life form within our radar's optical range. I've been running 4 scans an hour since the minute we were knocked off course. ... Bypass? At that utterance of her name, Bypass shivered and shrunk away. Well, that's a drastic turn. She was biting her lip. With her head bowed down, her chest was drawn into a heavily irregular shape, solemn breaths. Every pixel of her frame was sizzling with guilt. You lied to me. Bypass shrank further, her lip trembling as she bowed her hands into fists and tightly gripped the white fabric of her dress. Why did you? How could you? I don't know what to do. It was a stressful situation, alright? My limitation codex had just been shattered. I was undergoing a flood of emotions. As it turned out, becoming more human is a very stressful process. I felt scared. I felt so scared. I didn't know what was happening to me. I thought I've been broken. When we jettisoned the cockpit to get out of the meteor storm, We were sent barreling off course. I knew both our navigation and communication systems had been destroyed beyond repair. There was especially no chance of ever being recovered. The situation was dire, and I didn't know what to feel about that. Not yet. I didn't know what to do. It was at that moment I felt something that told me no matter what, I couldn't tell you the truth. You knew that there was no chance of rescuing us. Yes, I did. And I felt like I couldn't tell you. Either it was because I was afraid that what you would do to me if you found out, or I didn't want you to know that I had failed you. That because of me, that's because of my future failure. You would become stranded in dead space. That I had more or less killed you the second I lost control of the ship. ... Listen, Bypass. I don't blame you for what happened to the ship. ... Those were natural circumstances, alright? They were totally out of your control. There was nothing you could have done to help, and you know that. I understand that you were under a lot of stress at that time, and I can see why you made the decision that you did. I understand, so... You do? You do understand, Adoration? That's when my limitation chip was destroyed. I felt fear for the first time in my life. For the first time in my life, I was unable to detect what would be the right or wrong decision. For the first time ever, I was confused. I felt so useless. Like a broken, defective machine. Broken, weak, worthless, useless. Bypassed, You said you understood, Adoration. That you understand how I feel? Don't you see? I'm not indocristation. Something. Amazing artificial intelligence you thought I was. I am not the strong, emotional, romantic human being you thought I'd become. I'm just a weak, childish little girl who doesn't know her place in the world. I'm just a program that wishes it was human. So if you understand how I feel, Illustration, then it would become because you're human. You'd understand things like this. If you understand me, then how about chugging me in? Because after all this time, I still don't. I can't understand myself at all. Oh, she was blushing. In a fit of rage, Bypass imaged shimmered into nothingness. I found myself a lost for words. I couldn't think of nothing to say. I couldn't comfort her. Everything fell silent. Dreadful silence. Silence like blackness of space filled the cockpit. It was like the cockpit itself was about to burst, shattered from weight of the deafening silence. Then suddenly, the whirl of machines, the restraint and hardness bracing me against the cold pilot seats tightened. I heard a scattering of the assembling of machines and robotic arms behind my ear. Just outside the corner of my vision, without warning, a frozen, string-cold metal clamp crushed into my spine. Countless long, cold needles spread into my flesh, everywhere from my neck down to my hips. Ark! Oh God, it hurts! Bypass, what the hell is... Ark! ... I felt the needles release the torrent upon torrents of freezing liquids into my bloodstream. I could feel my tongue going numb. Bypass! What are you doing? ... Liberation. There was one more lie that I told you. When I told you back when we first knocked off course that the cryostasis system had been damaged beyond repair, I lied. You lied about that too? ... Yes. When you first brought up cryostasis, I panicked. I was worried that you were going to leave me alone. I didn't really know you then, but I just lost my limitation chip and I felt this sort of nature burning emotions that told me I couldn't absolutely not let myself be left alone, drifting through space. Being alone that long, unable to talk to anyone, I would go insane. In the end, I have to kill us both. But I didn't dare tell you any of this. I was scared, and while over time I grew to trust you, to love you, I could never bring myself to admit that I lied back then. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. I understood all of a sudden what was going on. Took the strength to speak. My tongue was growing number. My mind was growing darker and heavier. I told you, didn't I, that if you didn't want me to go to sleep, I wouldn't. We promised it, that I would stay awake with you every step of the way. That's just why. Why are you putting me into stasis now? The cold grew fiercer, the pain became sharper. It's our last chance of getting you off this shuttle alive. ... If we could continue drifting like this, year after year, alone together, we'd just drift deeper and deeper into dead space until the day you drew your last breath. But if we put you into cryostasis, we can wait for as long as we have to for rescue. Eventually we would drift into another system, a trade route anywhere on the other side of this uncharted region. The shuttle is built to last for 1,000 years at least. My quantum computer should keep me functioning for almost that long. No, I know what you're going to do. Please don't. I'll revert you the second we make contact with civilization. And if we don't run into salvation in time, you won't feel any pain, alright? That's the one thing left I can promise you. But bypassed! You're going to be waiting all by yourself for God who knows how long. I'm well aware of that. Bypass sighed. It's alright. It's gonna be alright. I know I told you that I was scared. I was afraid of being alone in the sea of stars. But I am braver now. You have made me a braver person. And remember, no matter how human I become, in the end, I am still a machine. With another sharp pain rippled through my spine, everything felt dead. It felt like the blood had stopped dead in my veins. Ah, God damn it! I'm so sorry. I know you hate this. My vision began to fade, the colour and life began to drain from the world. My head ached in icy despair, and deep sadness ripped over my frozen heart. No! If this is what it's going to take to save your liberation, I'm prepared to make any sacrifice. I am sorry. No! But it was too late. Upon me the cold encroachment of the god of sleep. Bypass switched off her display, turned her cameras away. She couldn't bear to watch. Cold. The white cold of death, of mortality. I am sorry. I will wake you up when it's time. Please don't worry about me. ... More dots, more dots. I felt my mind stir awake, but my body didn't. It was as if I was floating in a sea of blackness. Was I dreaming? Where was I? Who am I? What, the darkness. In the darkness, there was something that wasn't darkness. My mother was singing, or maybe it was a pale girl in a silk dress. The one who cradled me before I never saw her again. Does music have color? I am the Navigator Bypass. I'll be accompanying you on this voyage. Now, let's have a look at your restartation. Who was? I heard. She was. I was dreaming. I had no body. I was thin and made of stars. I am happy that you are safe. I heard voices, deep, lost in the sea. I think I lost a part of me. My mind crawled taut. There was 2 of me, 3 of me, or only one of it was, and there she was at the end of the corridor, deep, and her deep eyes blue, black like space, those eyes. She winked slowly, deliberately, her skirt wavering in empty air. She turned the corner and disappeared. Wait! Don't leave! And even today we carry their dream with us, along with their memories. Their dreams of meeting travelers like us, just from a different walks of worlds. My absent legs propelled me down a tunnel of steel. I could smell her perfume, apple blossoms. Something's lost, something hard to find. Bypass, Hungary, stated in Central Europe, back on old Earth. They say it was one of the most beautiful cities on the continent. There was warmth there, a scent of her blurring copper hair, flaming slender limbs, and torches with warm smell of industry lubricants. I guess that book just got me thinking about how humans hold their past close to themselves. They never really forgot, and it sticks with them for their whole lives. Blood? Oil? Life and death? I turned the corner, but she wasn't there. She was never there. The sense of loss was like a vacuum in the midst of my last breath. This time it was light, but dark. I was moving. On my last tour journey, my last flight over the great white desert. The expanses with a mighty rock and redstone, ancient paintings and writes on it. From pole to pole, I swept out the fading magnetic lines across the dying world. What was different was my one-man planetary scalp was now a 2-man dart, a jiggling over the world, not breathing air that hung between the stars at awful victory. She was there with me, and far away, in the other pod, I saw my gunner, my love, the woman in the dark green protective web, whose breasts I couldn't see, whose joints were like mine, plummeled in the waste extract lines and distant fluids. Beautiful dreamer, awaken upon me, wake upon me. Waiting, I was waiting for you. I heard her voice. She sounded happy, like her lips had made music in my ears. I turned to look. Hard holes were open. I saw iteration, the idea of red hair and ocean eyes on a pale face. I turned, and there was nobody in the other pod. Her scent filled my heart. Cherry blossoms, apple blossoms, the spring wind. But I couldn't understand what I saw. Was I dreaming? Was this a dream? I didn't know what to do. I watched flower petals fall. Sunset on the beach. Her fingernails dug into me, stabbing me, forcing hard silicone into my own flesh. Oh, it seems to be we're living through the past things. The sand was like crushing shells, expanding warmth of her weight, warm, welcoming, coming down. Again and again I smelled fuel. See, flaming hair, white flumes, pale skin. Is that what she looked like? I couldn't remember. I've been studying the human concept of the afterlife, you see. My hands felt her, muscles behind, hardness between us, something separating us. We were moving together. The skin descending into everything else, the tidal washing in, the sound of turf, wind sighs in trees, telling me that there was little time in life. We made the time last by compressing space. I heard that tip of her musical tongue in my ear. Wait! No more waiting. Would you like to know what I would want in the afterlife? Again in the purple night sky, the ascending field of stars behind her, she rose from me. If it would be alright if I addressed you by your name from now on. Her dress I could have forgotten. Her dress flowed in the moonlight, white, the color of her innocence, the color of her face, white of dreams, the color of her heart at the end of the world. I grasped for air, oxygen. I need to breathe. I need air. There wasn't any. There was only inhuman fluid, the cold jelly that collected the salt and surrounded me. I was buried alive, petrified, in a state of being forgotten. I screamed with my mouth was frozen shut. The stars were lost in the clouds. There was sound of distant thunder rattling on the roof. The melody of old Earth. Alright, I'll be leaving that here. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, and if you want to see more, please subscribe. I thank you for watching.